Have you ever met someone who talks endlessly about their big dreams? They talk about massive success, making life-changing money, traveling the world, building an empire. When they describe it, their eyes light up. They imagine it so clearly that you can almost see it too. They truly, deeply believe they are capable of it. But then, you see them a year later, and then 2 years later, and absolutely nothing has changed. They are in the exact same job, the exact same situation, having the exact same conversations about what they are going to do. Maybe you don't even need to imagine someone else. Maybe that person is you. Welcome to Deep Dive Psychology. Today, we are unpacking one of the most frustrating psychological traps of the human mind: the gap between dreaming and doing. Society likes to label this as laziness. People will tell you, you just don't want it badly enough. Or, you lack discipline. But psychology tells us a completely different story. Being stuck in the dreaming phase is rarely about laziness. It is a complex psychological defense mechanism. It's a trick your brain plays on you to keep you safe. Before we break down the exact psychological reasons why you can't seem to take action, let me tell you a story about a guy named Marcus. Marcus was the smartest guy in his friend group. He was the ideas guy. 5 years ago, Marcus came up with a brilliant concept for a tech startup. It was genuinely a $1 million idea. He bought the domain name. He designed a beautiful logo. He spent hours at coffee shops, telling all his friends exactly how the app was going to revolutionize the industry. He even visualized the exact suit he was going to wear when he sold the company. His friends were amazed. They told him, "Marcus, you're a genius. This is going to be huge." That night, Marcus went to sleep feeling like a CEO. He felt powerful. He felt accomplished. But the next morning, when it was time to actually sit down and write the boring, complicated code, Marcus felt exhausted. He told himself he needed to do more research first. Then, he decided he needed a better laptop. Then, he convinced himself the market wasn't quite ready yet. Fast forward 5 years. Marcus never wrote a single line of code. The domain name expired. And worst of all, someone else launched the exact same idea and made millions. Marcus wasn't lazy. He was a victim of his own mind. And today, we are going to look at the 6 psychological reasons why your brain prefers the dream over the reality. Reason number 1, you confuse thinking with progress. In psychology, there is a fascinating phenomenon regarding how our brain processes visualization. We are constantly told to visualize our success. But here is the dangerous trap. When you imagine success so vividly, and especially when you talk about it with others, your brain actually releases a hit of dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter responsible for reward and motivation. When Marcus told his friends about his business, and they praised him, his brain gave him the exact same chemical reward he would have gotten if he had actually built the business. Psychologists call this the premature sense of accomplishment. Your subconscious brain cannot easily tell the difference between vividly imagining an achievement and actually achieving it. So, when you constantly fantasize about your goals, your brain feels satisfied. The biological urgency to take action completely disappears. You have already consumed the emotional reward without doing a single minute of the hard work. You aren't lacking motivation, you are simply getting your dopamine from the fantasy instead of the execution. Reason number 2, fear of failure, disguised as perfectionism. People who talk endlessly about big dreams don't lack ambition. In fact, they have so much ambition that their self-image is tied to this grand, perfect vision of themselves. But beneath that grand vision hides a terrifying question: what if I actually try, give it my absolute 100%, and I still fail? If you don't try, you can always protect your ego. You can always say, "I could be rich if I wanted to. I just haven't started yet." As long as the dream stays in your head, it remains perfect. It has no flaws. No one can criticize it. No one can reject it. Psychologists refer to this as self-handicapping. It is a cognitive strategy where people avoid effort to protect their self-esteem. If you never take the test, you can never fail it. So, instead of risking the shattering of their perfect self-image, they stay forever in the planning phase. Perfectionism is not a standard of high quality. Perfectionism is just fear in a cheap tuxedo. It is the ego's way of keeping you paralyzed, so you never have to face the reality of your own limitations. Reason number 3, the myth of readiness. Listen closely to this, because it is one of the most toxic lies you will ever tell yourself. I just need to wait for the right moment. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I feel more confident. I'll start when the kids are older, when the economy is better, when the stars align. Many people deeply believe that they need to feel ready before they take action. But behavioral psychology proves the exact opposite. Readiness does not precede action. Readiness is created by action. Confidence is not a prerequisite for starting. Confidence is the result of surviving the start. When you sit around waiting for motivation or the perfect conditions to strike, you are waiting for a ghost. The human brain is evolutionarily wired to conserve energy and avoid uncertainty. Therefore, your brain will never tell you that it is the perfect time to do something uncomfortable. The people who actually achieve their dreams don't act because they feel ready. They act despite feeling completely unready. They jump before they know how to land. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, you will end up waiting for the rest of your life. And that time will never arrive. Reason number 4, analysis paralysis and decision fatigue. Dreamers are often highly intelligent people. And because they are intelligent, they think deeply. They map out every single step. They calculate every possible outcome. They anticipate every potential roadblock. On the surface, this looks like responsible planning. But biologically, it is a disaster. The human brain consumes about 20% of your body's energy. Thinking intensely about complex future scenarios burns a massive amount of mental glucose. This leads to a psychological state known as decision fatigue. When you overthink a project before you even take the first physical step, you drain your executive functioning. By the time you actually need to sit down and do the work, your brain is biologically exhausted. You feel tired. You feel overwhelmed. So you tell yourself, I've done enough planning for today. I'll start the actual work tomorrow. But tomorrow, the cycle repeats. You aren't procrastinating because you are lazy. You are procrastinating because you are mentally burning yourself out by fighting imaginary battles in your head, instead of fighting the real battles in the physical world. Reason number 5, the silent war of cognitive dissonance. This is perhaps the deepest psychological barrier of all. Your brain violently resists any action that contradicts your core identity. Let me explain. You might consciously say, I want to be a successful entrepreneur who wakes up at 5 a.m. But, if your deep, subconscious identity believes, I am a lazy person, or I never finish what I start, or I am not good enough, your brain will literally sabotage your actions to match your internal beliefs. This is known as cognitive dissonance. The brain hates inconsistency. If there is a gap between who you think you are and what you are trying to do, your mind will hit the emergency brakes. Taking massive action towards a big dream requires you to become someone different. It requires the death of your old self. And the ego is terrified of death. If you want to change your actions, you cannot just rely on willpower. You have to change your self-narrative. You have to stop saying, I am trying to be disciplined, and start acting from the identity of, I am a disciplined person. What would a disciplined person do right now? Behavior follows identity. Always. And finally, reason number 6, you are addicted to the romance of potential, instead of the reality of effort. Having big dreams feels incredible. It creates a sense of infinite possibility. It makes you feel special. When you are in the dreaming phase, you are the hero of a movie that hasn't been filmed yet. But the reality of success? It is incredibly boring. Real progress is not a glamorous montage with dramatic background music. Real progress is sitting alone in a quiet room, staring at a screen for 6 hours. Real progress is waking up tired, failing, getting rejected, tweaking a formula, and trying again. It is repetitive. MS is not rare. Millions of people go to sleep every night with incredible ideas in their heads. But turning those dreams into physical reality, that is exceptionally rare. And the difference between the dreamer and the doer is not talent. It is not genetic luck. And it is definitely not having the perfect plan. The difference is the ability to act, even when your entire nervous system is screaming at you to stop. It is the ability to recognize that your brain is trying to keep you safe in the comfort zone, and choosing to step out of it anyway. So, how do you break the cycle? You stop planning. You stop talking. You stop telling people what you are going to do. You shrink your focus. You don't try to build the entire empire today. You just lay one single brick. If you want to write a book, you don't worry about publishing, you write one terrible page today. If you want to start a business, you don't design a logo, you make one phone call today. Action breaks the illusion. Action destroys the fear. The world does not care about what you are capable of doing. It only rewards what you actually do. If this deep dive hit close to home, and you are ready to finally understand the hidden mechanics of your own mind, hit the subscribe button for Deep Dive Psychology. Leave a comment down below with one single action you are going to take today. Not tomorrow. Today. Stop dreaming. Start doing. I'll see you in the next video.